paste.
Maybe you could copy and paste it.
Okay.
Like control copy, control V, and paste. Or you can email it to me. I have my phone. I can check email.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna email it. It's not letting me paste it.
What does it say?
Well, it's just it says calculation of standard deviation of a group data, and the very first one, it's kind of breaking down a problem, I guess, and the second one is the whole equation, which looks a little intimidating. So bear with me. I'm gonna forward.
And it was an email?
Yeah. That's
sorry.
yeah. And I'm trying to. I haven't memorized your email yet.
It's DJ LEDRAND @ualr.edu.
Would you be so kind to paste it on the board?
If I can. I don't see a place where I can add pictures. Oh, but I can go in. I think I can share my desktop and look at my email.
Okay.
I can try that. Did you send it?
No, not yet. Bear with me, Alexandra.
I'm sorry. I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, it might be automated because it doesn't seem like the email is like your direct email. It's from the course.
It could have been from like the coaches, and I didn't get it. But I told the coaches they didn't have to meet. And even if we can't do this, I have an example of if you wanted to go over it. I have an example that we could do.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so it's the problem. Let me get it straight. So the question is standard deviation using a group data.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Okay. Okay, well, I mean, you can email that later, and I can email it back to you.
I just sent it to you. Okay. Let me know if you see it.
I got it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I took it off of a PowerPoint. So, do you want to do that one, or do you want to do a different one, and then you could have two examples?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. So mine, let me just write this. And I can't write really good on this. I'm gonna try. Okay. Then here's these are hours.
Okay.
Let me just write this table out.
Sure.
And then the number, and then I'll explain it.
Okay.
Okay, it's a little messy, but I can't write on this tablet. Okay, this is the number of hours per week spent watching TV. So 220 students. So there's 220 students total. And this is the number of hours watching TV. per week. Okay?
Okay.
So between 10 and 14 hours, there's two frequencies. So when you do a group frequency, you have to find the midpoint of each of those intervals. So you can't use an interval, that doesn't make any sense. You have to get this down to one number. So the midpoint of 10 to 14, what's the middle number?
12.
12, yeah. 12, and then 17, 22, 27, 32. If I make a mistake, or if you don't understand something, just stop me.
Okay, no worries.
You take the midpoint of all the groups.
Okay.
And now you can't get another page of paper, so I have to erase all this and go from
No,
here. So
I just wrote all this, so you're fine.
okay, so now we have 12, 17, 22, 27. This is going to take a while, but I think it's worth going over. 42, and then, so that's midpoint, I'll just say M, and then the number of students, this is the frequency. So F for frequency, that's how many times it happens.
Okay.
So the first thing we have to do is find the mean. And that's just an average. So the way you want to think about this is if there's two students that watch an average of 12 hours per week, then you really could just, for an example, write it out. You have two 12s. I mean, you can't do this for 220 students, but I'm just saying you need to think about it like this. And then you have 12 17s.
Right.
So there's 12 of these, and so on. So think about that the whole time, because how do you find the mean of something?
Don't you need to find, is it the average?
The average, yeah. So you just add everything up and divide by the total, right?
Correct.
Okay, so instead of adding 12 plus 12, there's two 12s, you're just going to do 12 times 2 plus 17 times 12, because if you think about listing all the numbers, you have 17 12 times.
Right, that makes sense.
Okay, so then 22 times 23 plus 27 times 60 plus 32 times 77 plus 37 times 38. I might have picked up too big of an example, but if you get the idea.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Okay, when you do that, and I have a calculator here, you have 6560, and then the mean or the average is just dividing by how many students. So you have 220 as your total. That was given in the problem. Or you can add all these frequencies up. This adds to 220.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking about that too.
Okay, so you get 29.82. Now, we want to do standard deviation, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I like to use Excel. It goes a lot better. Do you have it?
You could use all the formulas.
Well, no. I'll show you the long way in Excel, because you could do this with the calculator. You can use the formula, yes. Well, not with group frequency. I don't know how to use the formula.
Yeah. And then, like, if I do it the long way, it would help me, like, through a test or something.
Right. So I'm going to go. Can you see this or not?
What are you showing me right now?
I was supposed to show you Excel, but I'm just going to go. Oh, I forgot to add the desktop. It shouldn't take me too long. I'm trying to get the desktop app. Okay, well, that worked. So let me see if you can see. Can you see that?
No, I still see the same whiteboard.
Okay, so try again. Let's see. Oh, it's not letting me do this. Let me just try it one more time. If not, I can just go through. Oh, okay. I had to start all over.
Oh no.
Can you see it?
Let me see. Yes, I can see it now.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm just going to type these numbers in. So we have 12, 17. I'm sorry this is taking so long, but with Excel, it's going to be so much easier. 27, 32, 37, and 42 for our midpoints. And then the frequency is 2. Well, if you just joined us, I'm doing a standard deviation of group frequency. So what you have to do, and my left column is the midpoint of each of my regions or intervals. So the left column is midpoint, and the right column is frequency. So let me just write that up there. And this is frequency. Okay. Now, we found the mean to be 29.82. So what you do, the next step is to do x minus the mean. So you're going to take, I did that wrong, x minus the mean. So in Excel, you could say equal midpoint. If you want to type a formula in, you can make up your own formulas by adding equal. So you want to take the midpoint minus 29.82. And then you press enter. All right, if you want to take that all the way down, all you have to do is do Control Insert, and it can you see that? Are you following me so far?
Yes, yes.
Okay, do Control Insert and then Shift down and press enter, and it does it for everything. So I did Control Insert in the first box, and then I did Shift all the way down, arrow down, and then I press enter. And it does for all the columns. So this column, this third column, is the midpoint minus the mean. The next column is going to be, and I'm following the standard deviation formula. Next column, we're going to square that, x minus the mean squared. So again, you could just say equals that number, because that's what x minus the mean is, and then you just use a caret squared. Press enter, and you get the number. Is that all right with you, or is that all right?
Can you do that one more time? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. This column is just the third column squared.
Okay.
The fourth column is just the third column squared, because we already did x minus the mean, and we just want to square it. So if you take that number square, you just go equals that number. Okay, so choose the number you want squared and do caret squared. the caret is the exponent.
Okay.
And press enter. Now, how do you do that for everything? Again, you just go Control, Insert, and it makes it look funny. And then you shift all the way down, wherever you want, and then it's going to do that for all those numbers in the third column. Okay, and I know that's going fast, but if you go back, I don't know if I can write on this or not. Look up here, up at the top. Wait, look at the top where it has that FX formula. And you see the equal sign. It's equal that number minus the mean. And then the fourth column is that column squared. I'm just going to jump over here so I have more room. The next step in standard deviation is to take the sum of all those numbers. Okay, well, Excel will do that. And if you don't like this, you can just use your calculator. You can take this number right here. Oh, sorry. Take that number right here and then just square it, and you'll get the number in the fourth column. Take each number, and you'll get the number in the fourth column. So you can use your calculator to just do this the long way.
This looks a little bit easier.
Yeah, this is much easier. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is how many of those do you have? Like this number right in the fourth column right here, that number right there, how many of those do you have? Well, you have to go back to your frequency. You have 2 of those numbers. And so if you list them out in a list, how many numbers do you have? The second one, how many of those numbers do you have? Well, you have 12 of those. And how many times do you have to do that? Well, you have to do it 23 times. Okay, because that's how many times this point, 22, is in the list. That number is in the list 23 times. So what you did here, you have to do 23 times. So that's why the next column is going to be x minus the mean squared times the frequency. Because that's how many times you did that. So remember this number right here is twice in the list. This number is 12 times in the list. This number right here is 23 times in the list. So we have to count for how many times they're in that list. So you're going to take this number and multiply it by this number. You're going to take this number and multiply it by this number. And that's what this column does. So to do that, you go equals. You go that number. Now, times is above the 8. So the times is above the 8, and then you're going to go times 2. And that's this column right here. Whenever you want a formula, you have to put an equal sign. So you want to do that number times this number, and we get that. Now, to do it for all of them, it's going to do it for all of them if we do, again, Control, Insert, and it's going to make it look funny. You shift down, press Enter, and you did that for all these column 2 and column 4. I know this is kind of going fast, but you'll have this recorded. I recorded it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, now the next step is the sum. So we can do that with Excel by saying equals. And if you look at the left-hand corner right here, this is where all your formulas are. Or you could just type sum in capital letters. So if you don't want to find it in your formula list, just type sum, and it comes up in this list, and you just double-click on it. So I'm going to double-click on that. And I want the sum of all these numbers. Select the ones I press with my mouse. I select all the numbers I want to add. And again, you can do that on your calculator. So if you don't if you don't like Excel, it just equals sum, then you can just add all those numbers up on a calculator. Then the next step, since this is an example, is we divide, and I'm just following the standard deviation rule, we divide by n minus 1. Now, the reason we do n minus 1 is because this is just an example. This is not the whole population. If you knew the whole population, which we hardly ever do, you would divide by n. So in our cases, every time you find standard deviation, you're just going to do n minus 1. That means how many people we had 220, so we're going to divide by 219. So n is the number of people. We're going to divide by 219. It's just an example, and that's the formula. So we're going to say equal this number, and then there's a slash right next, that's the division slash right next to your shift button on your keyboard. And we're going to divide by 219. And then we're going to take the square root. So we're going to say equal the square root. And that's in Excel already of that number. And we press enter. So let me say this is the square root of 36.5. So that would be our standard deviation for this problem. I know that's a long process, but it is the formula for, this is the formula for a regular standard deviation. So if your numbers were not grouped, there's really no difference. You're going to do the same process. You're going to find the mean. You're going to subtract the mean from each of your numbers. You're going to square each of the numbers. And then the frequency, if it's just listed once, is 1. Or you multiply by how many times those numbers appear. You add those numbers all up. You divide by n minus 1, and then you take the square root. So in the email that I sent out, there's another example for you, and see if you can follow it with Excel. You don't have to use Excel, but I think it's just so much easier. And anybody that's on right now can just in and ask questions, please. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go back to the whiteboard. Let's see. There's a lot of chat questions. I can't see the chat when I'm on Excel, so give me a minute. We're working on the standard deviation of group frequency. Can everybody hear me? Okay. All right. So I know that was a little fast, but again, we're gonna let's see. Let me go back to sharing Excel. If you just joined me late, the original problem, let me go back and explain while you're taking notes maybe, so give people a minute to catch up. Let me type, oh, it goes to date. Okay, what this example was the number of hours students spent watching TV per week. So this column right here was the number of hours. So between 10 and 14 hours, between 10 and 14, two students watched between 10 and 14 hours of television. The next one is 15 through 19. And 20 through 24, 25 through 29, 30 through 34, 35 through 39, and 40 through 44. Okay, so between 17 student, I'm sorry, frequency. 12 students watch between 15 to 19 hours. 23 students watch between 20 to 24 hours a week, and so on. So 77 students watch between 30 and 34 hours a week. So the first thing I said to do is you had to find the mean. Okay, the mean right here is 29.82. So to find the mean, you had to take the midpoint of all these, okay? Whenever you're given a range, you have to find the midpoint. That's this column. So the midpoint of 10 to 14 is 12. So I find the mean of between the frequencies and the midpoint, and we found that to be 29.82. So the next step was to take the midpoint, 12. If you look up, your formula is right here. 12 minus the mean's right here up on top in that formula bar. So you say equals that number, 12 minus the mean is this number right here. And then we do these directions. You just do control, insert in the first box. So just do control, insert, and then shift all the way down and press enter, and it populates that column. The next column is this column squared. This is the formula for standard deviation. So you have to square this column. So you say equals that number squared, do control, insert, shift down, press enter, and it populates that column. And again, you could do all this on your calculator if you want to. You don't have to use Excel. Then you have to think, how many times did this happen? This happened twice. You have to take into account you have to take into account how many times everything happened. So we're going to multiply. Okay, I lost my connection, but okay, so you have to take this number and multiply it by the frequency. So I take this number and multiply it by the frequency because that number happened 2 times. This number happened 12 times. This number happened 23 times. So that's what this column is. You go equal this times the frequency, control, insert, carry it all the way down. It does it for every number. And then we add the sum of it, take the sum of those numbers. Using the formula, we divide by n minus 1. So we divided by 219. So up here, I divided that number by 219. And then I took the square root. So this number right here is the square root of that number. And so that number right there, 6.04, is our standard deviation. Now, what I said before is that I emailed everybody an example. So if you can follow this example, you can take that example I emailed and make sure you can get that answer also. So this is just another example. Okay, does that help a little bit? I hope. I guess people left. Hello? Okay, good. I'm sorry. I don't know why I lost people, but do you have any other questions? wonder what happened. Okay, so you can see me. Yeah, I was hoping other people would ask questions too. Carly and Chris logged in, and on Wednesday morning I only had 3 people, but I wish more people would email me. They could also email me questions. Okay, good. That's all I have is the whiteboard. I guess I can put it back on the Excel. Or do you want to do an example of something else? Because like I said, I have the learning checks and the knowledge checks here.
Let me go through my notes real fast.
No, well, take your time. I don't know what happened to the other people. I hope I didn't scare them away.
No, I think they just like checked in and they came in the middle of the problem, and like I said, it's intimidating if you don't know what's going on. So
yeah, I was trying to kind of go kind of fast because I thought there would be a lot of questions, so I made a mistake because I should have went slower, I guess. I just thought there would be a lot of people with a lot of questions. Well, I haven't done this very often, so that's why I'm...
This is actually my first Collaborate like this.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and this is my first time taking a class with this university.
Oh. So are you, what are you doing? What are you going to go into or study?
I'm trying to finish my business associates, and then I'm trying to go for international business.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah. And my community college didn't offer statistics online, so this is why I looked for you guys.
Yay. Well, I usually teach at University of Arkansas Little Rock, so I teach extra here, and I really like it.
I like it too. It has it breaks it down a lot more easier than other online classes.
Oh, good.
So I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want people to know that anytime they have a question, I mean, I can answer it through email. You have the Q&A. If you're not getting your question answered, I want people to know that, we can do this anytime. We can get together on Collaborate, or we can, email, whatever it takes.
Right. Awesome. Well, I think the biggest thing I'm trying to memorize is like, on the first section, it's all the small terms, like statistics, what is it?
Okay. Yeah, I know. I have trouble with those too. But what I suggest is that you get a stack of note cards, like 3x5 note cards, and write down the definitions and maybe an example on the back. And you just keep those because you can use that for the knowledge checks, and you'll have, just the important things right in front of you. And you don't have to keep going back and forth.
That's true. Well, I know there's like keywords that usually help whenever a problem arises, right?
Yes.
So those are the keywords are the ones that I'm trying to memorize as well.
Yes. And that'll help. That'll help when we do the, I think it's week 4, we do how to take samples. Week 2 and 3 are mainly math oriented, but week 4 is more back to reading, in words. And then week 5, if I was going to send an email, I'm always sending emails out, but I was going to send an email out telling people that they need to maybe even work ahead, because week 5 might take more time. So if people can work ahead, that would be awesome. That would give more people time to get through week 5, and week 6 is short, so that helps a lot.
You said week 5 and 6 are short?
No, week 5 is the most challenging week.
Okay.
Week 6 is less challenging, so it's a nice way to end.
Okay, that is true.
But I think people need more time on week 5, and if they could get there sooner, it would really help them.
Okay, so I can work ahead as much as I want?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
I think except on the midterms, well, the midterm is, I'll have to check that if the midterm is only a certain time that you can take it.
Yeah.
But
do I take the midterm online as well?
Yeah, it's all on here.
Okay, cool. Well,
and I don't know if you read this, but, and I'm just saying this for everybody who watches this, Blackboard has a lot of limitations. So when you take the knowledge checks, you need to just do, instead of, I couldn't separate them into parts. They wouldn't let me do that. So there are 2 huge chunks, and what you want to do is you want to do one problem and you want to submit the test and get that answer correct before you move on, and write it down. And then, because if you do this test and you do, like, say 18 problems right and you get one wrong, you can't rework the whole test you can't just rework one problem. You have to rework the whole test.
Right. I saw your email and that helped a lot.
Okay, now later on that won't work because the numbers change. It's the same problems, it's just the numbers change. But if you know how to do the problem one time, then you'll be able to do it another time. So yeah, you kind of have to be careful, but I think it'll save a lot of headache and trouble in the long run.
Okay.
The only thing I don't like is that it won't save correct answers. And you can always ask me, you know, hey, check my work, because I can see the answers you put. And again, I'm talking to everybody. I can see the answers you put. So if you are really stuck on a problem, I can see your answer and I can try to see maybe where you went wrong if you asked me the specific problem.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
So, I mean, I feel bad. Should I go back and do that Excel again? I mean, do you understand how I went through the Excel?
Yeah, I understand it, and what I'm going to do is practice it until it's like muscle memory.
Okay.
But other than that, how you explained it made a lot of sense.
Okay, and if you just do regular Excel, like say you have X, let me write that. You just have, you know, a set of numbers like 1, 2, 5, 7, 8. Okay, say you just have regular numbers. Well, the first thing you do is, let me just go through the steps. You're going to find the mean. So that's the sum over the number of numbers you have, right? So the sum of all these numbers is 15, 20, 23 divided by 5. So let me get my calculator. 4.6.
Okay.
So all I did was add up the numbers and divide by how many numbers you have, just like you do like a test score or whatever.
Right.
So then what you do, the next column is you make a chart. So let's make our chart, and you put your numbers. And again, you can do this in Excel, but I think I'm going to do it here just to, I don't know why these marks. I can't erase just marks. You have to erase the whole thing. Okay, so you do X minus your mean is the first column. So without doing this in Excel, let me just work on the calculator. So 1 minus 4.6 is minus 3.6. 2 minus that is minus 2.6. 5 minus that is 0.4. 7 minus 4.6 is 2.4. And 8 minus 4.6. So maybe this will help if I just did an easier example and then show you how to do it in Excel. 3.4. So that would be the first, and all I'm doing is going by the definition of standard deviation. So then the next column would be x minus the mean squared. So you would just square this this column. So negative 3.6 squared is 12.96. 2.6. Sorry, this is so sloppy, but I can't write on this. 6.76. Hi, if you just joined, we're doing standard deviation. 0.16. I'm just going to write over this. And 2.4 squared is 5.76. And 3.4 squared is 11.56. Okay, again, I'm sorry it's so sloppy, but...
What's the number above 5.76?
0.16.
0.16.
So that goes with the 0.4. Sorry. That goes with that, and that's that squared. This is 11.56.
Okay, yeah.
So it's 12.96, 6.76, 0.16, 5.96, and 11.56. So column 3 is just column 2 squared. Then you're going to add those numbers up. So you're going to take the sum of all these. So I'm just going to do this on my calculator. And I get 37.2.
Okay,
Now, is
that's
that
what I got too.
Okay, good. If I make a mistake, tell me. Okay, then you divide by n minus 1. So we divide by the number of numbers minus 1. This is not group frequency, so there's 5 numbers. So we divide it by 4. Because it's example, if it was a population, you would do 5. Okay, that's 9.3. And the last step, okay, so step 3 is the sum, sorry. 4 is divided by n minus 1, which is 9.3. And 5 is to take the square root. And I get 3.05. Okay, does that make sense?
Okay, what did we divide again?
Okay, you take the sum. You add up all these numbers here, which was 37.2.
Yeah, and then we divide it by 4.
Right, because there's 5 numbers. N is the number of numbers, so there's 5 numbers. So 5 minus 1 is 4. And that was 9.3. And then we took the square root of that number, and it's 3.05.
Square root of 9.3?
Now I'm going to do the same thing in Excel and see if we get the same answer. Would that help?
I wrote down all the notes, so I got it down.
Okay.
And remember me again, you mentioned in between this problem that we only do the 4 numbers instead of 5 because it's standard deviation? Or?
No, because it's an example. It's not the whole population.
Oh, it's not the whole population.
See, we seldom know the whole population, so pretty much we're always going to use the n-1 for example. That's the difference.
n-1. Okay.
So use n-1 for example. In step 4, use n if it's a population.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so in Excel, let me see if I can share. Oh, what? Okay. I'm gonna just write my numbers over here so you can see that it's similar. I had 1, 2, 5, 7, 8. Okay, I found the mean, so I'm gonna say the next step is x minus the mean. So we're gonna do equals this minus, what was our mean? I forgot. Was our mean like 4.6? So we're gonna do, can you see this? Control insert, shift down. And then we're gonna do the x minus the mean squared. So we're gonna do equals that squared and enter. And then you just do control, insert, shift down. You take the sum of all those numbers. You divide that number by 4 because we have n-1. So we have this divided by 4. We get the 9.3. And then we say equals square root of that number. And we get the same answer. So this is a regular standard deviation. This right here is the grouped frequency. On the left is the grouped frequency standard deviation where you have to account for the frequencies. Here is just a regular standard deviation. So on this, again, you would take all your numbers, subtract the mean, that's column 2. You would square each number in that column. You would take the sum of those numbers, divide it by 4 because it's 1 less than the amount of numbers we have, and then you take the square root.
Okay.
So that's how you would do it in Excel.
Just to let you know, I got disconnected whenever you went to your Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
You're fine. I'm back.
Okay. All right. Let me just write out what I did. All right. Well, let me see if I can go back without disconnecting you. Okay. Yeah, I guess maybe I made a mistake or something.
No, you're fine.
But it's still, hi Stephanie. If you have questions, just chat with us. So if it'll be on the video, so I didn't lose the recording. It's still recording.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so what we did tonight so far, if you just joined us, we did I'm sorry. We did in Excel, we did group frequency, and we did the regular standard deviation, but we can move on and talk about something else if you want to. Did you have any questions? You could just type your answer if you don't have a microphone. Or chat. Use the chat. Or Erica, did you have anything else you think?
No, I think that's all I really wanted to go over.
Okay. Well, again, if something doesn't make sense, if you watch this again, just let me know. We're going to talk about what this all means. We are going to use standard deviation later on. You know how you have to do things a long way to really kind of understand where it comes from? Well, that's what this is. It's the long way, and there is a a command that will figure out standard deviation for ungrouped frequency, and we'll use that later. And because we're gonna go further with this, but that won't be till like week 3, or yeah, week 3.
Okay.
All right. So I guess I see Stephanie out here. Stephanie, do you have any questions? You can go to the. Oh, okay, yeah. If you watch the video, we did standard deviation. If you don't understand anything or anything on the video, then just contact me and we can go over it again. I kind of went over it fast because I thought there would be a lot of questions. I thought there would be a lot of people, and so that's my mistake. Next time I'll just go slower. I don't know. It usually takes. It's not available right away, but what you do is you just go up. Let me see here. When you went to the place where the course room was, right above it is the menu, and it has recordings, and you can keep checking. I think it's not right away. It might be an hour or two. So the recordings usually maybe an hour or two. I'll have to keep checking. I'm not sure how long it takes, but it's automatic.
When did you do the other Collaborate?
I did it Wednesday morning.
Wednesday? Okay, well, I can see the Wednesday one right now, so I don't know how long that took.
Yeah, and I saw it. I checked to make sure it was there. I saw it Wednesday, so it's only a couple hours. It might just be 1 hour. It's just lags behind.
Okay.
And I don't get a notice of it. Otherwise, I would send a notice out. You just have to keep checking, I think.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you, Miss Denise. I'll email you if I have any questions.
Yeah, please. Let me. When did they cover? No, Wednesday actually did not cover the same thing. Wednesday covered the definitions of population, sample, statistics, and variables. So I gave examples of the definitions. So we didn't really do any math on Wednesday, and it was a short session because I didn't have a lot of people. But if you didn't understand the definitions, we went over those on Wednesday morning. So if there's a way to note what we did each session, I will surely do that. All right, well, thanks. And if you, let me just one last thing before we quit. If you need an answer, I mean, I'm online a lot, but if you need to answer, if you want to answer right away, if I'm available, I will give you an answer right away. If I can't, I will just do it as soon as possible. But you can text me or call me and, just say I need help with the question. Or I was telling Erica also, I'll tell everybody that if you're going through the knowledge checks and you don't know what you did wrong, and I can see the answer you put. I can't see the steps that you did, but I can see your answer and I can see if it's close or not. So that's what I can tell you. I can look up. I can see what your answer was, is what I'm trying to say, and see how close it was to the right answer. So anytime you have a problem with that, you can ask me.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was a fast hour, so I appreciate you coming by. And if you have any more questions, don't hesitate to ask.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Denise. Have
All
a
right.
good
Good
evening.
night.